Three claps real quick from Nathaniel.
Oh.
Those are great claps.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's not recording or doing anything.
Was
He just wanted to see your seal impression.
You just wanted to see your improvement on your claps.
Welcome to another episode of Subday Sundays. It's your boy, Neth. Yeah, that's right.
How dare you?
Yeah. With the crew. Let's see how they're going to introduce themselves this time, starting with my man over here.
I am Bryant Whitney, and
you
I've
are.
been disrespected.
I'm Mario. What's up, everybody? Good morning.
What's up, guys? It's Cody.
What's up, indeed? So
It's your boy, Bryant!
just couldn't help yourself.
Couldn't stop.
Couldn't stop it.
Had to do it.
All right, so for today, we are doing 3 questions.
Excellent.
Okay, we're going to have some of the boys bring them up because you guys don't want to hear me talk all the time, and then
I don't.
we have a special fan surprise that we're gonna lay on you guys. Rezo in the background is getting that ready, so be prepared. Yeah.
I just want it to be known. I get my generic YouTube opening stolen from me, and I don't get to bring up a topic. Hashtag free Bryant.
Maybe next week. It was such a great opening, I had to take it. All right, so I think we're starting with you, Mr. Adamo.
Yeah, so let's start buy sell. So it's great. It's a classic segment. So we've done it before. We're doing it again. So first off, Bryant, Raptors are a legit contender in representing the East in the finals.
If this were anything else in the world, it wouldn't matter because we're talking about this. Sell.
Wow.
LeBron still in the East, so.
I'm going to say bye.
All right.
I love it. And Cody, I agree. The Raptors are this year's Spurs. Nobody will say their name in the regular season, but they'll be the talk of the town come playoffs. They have the size, the speed, and the talent to lose to the West in the finals.
That was well researched, Mario.
But wrong.
But what you don't understand is the Raptors are literally the same team that they've been for the past 4 years.
They're not. They're this year's Spurs.
They're not going anywhere. They're going to make it to the second round of the playoffs. They're going to lose in the second round of the playoffs. And
To the Celtics.
Not to the Celtics. They just proved they can beat the Celtics.
Kyle Lowry will be
They were on a
scrutinized
downskin.
as always. Kyle Lowry will not show up in the playoffs. He'll be booty.
You know what? That's something I disagree with you. I don't think that this year it's going to be hinged on Kyle Lowry. I think it's DeMar DeRozan. He's been balling so hard. I think
DeMar's
they
gonna
go as
show
far
up.
as he...
I think DeMar shows up and DeMar gets disgruntled that the rest of the team did not show up.
I think they show up, but
Really?
it's like if you look at DeMar DeRozan's history against LeBron, like he is LeBron James' wet dream on a team. He's a scoring guard that can, like, if you have a player like DeMar DeRozan who's that 2 guard, all you do is you just put LeBron James on that, and then that's it. Like, because you have nobody else that's like, going to consistently be able to drop 30. Kyle Lowry might be able to do it a game, but if you limit DeRozan in that series just by putting LeBron on him, like, that's it. If DeRozan was more LeBron's size, I would say there was more in an advantage there. But because LeBron is so physically dominant to that player, I don't see them going much past that.
LeBron's not the only guy. Sorry, DeRozan is not the only guy who can score on that team. Kyle Lowry is great. They got Serge Ibaka. They got Jonas
Hold on, I have Serge
Valanciunas.
Ibaka. Hold on, are you gonna bring up Serge Ibaka in terms of scoring?
Averaging like 8 points a game.
Serge Ibaka.
Ibaka?
Serge Ibaka.
Serge, look, I love that you have taken the time to finally look over their roster in the past 5 years. Okay, I appreciate that you took the time.
I
do
know
that.
they're the same team, but does that mean the team can't develop and be better?
That's the thing. I feel like the team is finally kind of finding its place.
They're
finally
still
got
not
good.
They're still not better than LeBron. That's the thing
They're
that
not better than Boston.
They're not better. They're
better than Boston.
Are you sure?
Yes.
They're as good now as Boston was at the beginning of the season. That's essentially what you're saying.
I'm not saying as of right now, they have the same record as Boston. Actually, I like
and
it.
Boston's
Boston's one
slipping.
game behind. They have
Boston's
one.
slipping. If Boston kept up their pace, they would be way ahead.
But they didn't keep up their pace. And you know what? The Raptors are now finding their pace.
You're telling me
when you
that
wanna
they're
get
playing
hot.
the same way. You're telling me that they can play to the same level, and I agree with you that they can play to the same level, which is why one of them will cancel each other out. Also, they're still not better than the Cavaliers because it doesn't matter how great you are. When LeBron wants to drop 30, 10, and 15 for 4 games straight to make sure you lose, he drops 30, 10, and 15 for 4 games straight and makes sure you lose, especially in the East. The only way that they could possibly come out of this, their only saving grace is that Kyrie Irving isn't on that team and it's not personal. That's the only advantage you have.
Yeah, like I said, they're gonna make it into the second round of the playoffs,
Respectable.
and then they'll be out. Just like every single year that the Raptors have made the playoffs.
This year's different.
I disagree. I just think the East is so inconsistent that the Raptors could make it through.
They're
In the West, I would say no. But because the East is so inconsistent, the Cavaliers have had struggles this season. Even the Celtics have had struggles.
Do the Raptors beat Boston? Because realistically,
In a 7-game series.
It's between Boston and Cleveland for a second round matchup for them. Do they beat Boston?
I think they have the power to. Yes.
The biggest Boston homer.
Wow.
I respect
Just
that.
admit it.
I respect that. If you're gonna take bye, I respect you saying that.
With the way
could
they
beat
are
your
playing
team.
now, I think they are a quality team. I think it's a 7-game series.
They don't have what's the prototype for winning in today's NBA. DeMar DeRozan is a great scorer, but he's not a 3-point shooter. He's a mid-range jumper, kind of Kobe-esque, Carmelo Anthony kind of guy.
He is.
And that's, as seen in some various articles, isn't the way the NBA is played nowadays. So that sort of what's considered inefficient scoring nowadays isn't going to fly against a defender like LeBron. Even though LeBron isn't the defender he was, let's say, 5 years ago, he's still LeBron.
Still LeBron.
And I don't know. I don't see it from the Raptors. They've always kind of been that perennial 4 to 3 to even maybe a 2 seed.
You know, I feel
over the last few years.
I feel the same way about them as I felt about the 64 win Hawks. It was a great
Right.
regular season.
Great regular season.
Showing
team.
me a lot of things
Yeah.
to build on, but ultimately we know what the East is and who runs it.
They're going to get you some
If
endorsements.
if this question was, can they beat the Celtics in the playoffs, I would totally be buying that. That's more something I would buy. But I need to throw this away as soon as possible.
Yep.
I just wouldn't say it's completely out of the question for them.
I mean, anything's
It
possible.
could easily be the Cavs, the Celtics, or the Raptors.
They could if they get hot at the right time.
But I just think it's something I could buy. I could buy into.
You know, time will tell.
Time will tell. I can't wait to prove you wrong. Next up, we got James Harden will choke again in the playoffs. Buy, sell.
Sell. Absolutely sell.
I buy.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna sell.
You gonna sell?
Definitely gonna sell.
Harden's had to do it alone all year. All the times in the past. Now he has Chris Paul. He's not alone anymore.
Okay.
I am selling this. James Harden is going to elevate his MVP season to a finals MVP season.
I don't know if
Wow.
I would go that far.
Okay.
I would definitely say that the Rockets have a generally stronger team around them than they have had in the past. Chris Paul, as long as he's healthy, which is
Stipulation.
Every
which
statement.
is a question mark. This team is really good. This team is really, really good.
Look, we're not talking about the team being really good. We're not talking about all that. We're
But-
saying this one individual player.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is when I say that he's like this team is really good, it takes pressure off of James Harden.
He doesn't have to do it all anymore.
Yeah, James Harden has had literally the entire load on him every year that he's gone into the
I'm sorry.
playoffs.
I disagree. I'm not saying he hasn't had the. I don't disagree with he having the load on him for the majority of his career. What I am saying is people don't really change like that, in my opinion. I see James Harden as a person as LeBron James' first year in Miami against the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
He had all the talent that he needed to win. It was really the only time that they were favored to win a NBA Finals, right? And he came up short. Not because of the talent around him, not because of anything else, but the stage and what that meant. We've had a body of work, right, to show what James Harden is about. He's had a finals appearance. Though early, he didn't come up clutch then. He's had time to mature and develop into a player with multiple playoff shortcomings, right? And you can say, oh, it was his team not being there for him. I see it as, at the end of the day, if it comes up to you to make this shot, your team will get you there, but your job is to get them over the hump. And what I've seen consistently is that his team, even when they weren't good, they were weren't as good as his. They were in a position to win, and he couldn't bring it home. That's why I'm not gonna buy him having, realistically, on like the season he's having now. He had just as good of a season last season, right? And look at them last season. So he's not I don't see him as being a different player. He is still great. But the James Harden that we have is the James Harden that we have. If they make it past a series or deeper into the playoffs, it won't be, in my opinion, because of James Harden stepping up, but Chris Paul creating enough of a buffer to mitigate that. So let's say he averages 20 instead of his almost 30 that he's averaging, right?
Okay.
I believe Chris Paul is so motivated. Having that second person who wants to win, who has had the struggles, has had the battles, will compensate for that and keep you afloat. So I don't think he's gonna change. I think the team around him has made it better enough so that they can win. They can win with him being subpar for a series or two.
See, I think
Or a couple. I'm sorry, not a series two, but a couple games, and that will be enough to help them advance.
I think that James Harden has learned from his mistakes. I think he's got almost a bit of a chip on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? I think he's lost so much in the playoffs that he's out to prove everybody wrong. All the haters who say you've choked in the playoffs and you can't.
They're not
carry
haters.
your
They're
team.
accurate.
I think that he's trying to prove them wrong.
They're hating on his game. They're hating.
They're not hating on his game. They're describing what he did.
Look
They're
at him
accurately
this year.
describing what he
He's
did.
putting up MVP numbers.
Nobody's.
It's hard to argue that he's not the MVP front
That's not the question that was asked. The question that was asked is he going to choke?
Think
But
that
here's my
he's going to
issue
take
with-
that into the playoffs.
Here's my issue with your argument, and what the argument I made of having a better team around him helps, is when James Harden was in OKC, there were some playoff runs where he balled out. Coming off the bench, he balled out, dropping 25, 30
100%.
points, and with a stronger team around him, with some of that pressure taken off. Because everybody's been in a situation where you perform worse based on the amount of pressure that's on you.
Next up, buy sell. The Spurs are no longer a team that wins 50 games a year, and they are no longer a threat in the West.
This one was one of the harder questions for me to answer, just kind of like, because I think hypothetically.
Sure.
But I am going to say sell.
I also sell this.
Yeah, I'm going to sell as well.
Wow.
Yo, what'd you pick?
You guys are crazy. I said that people have been saying it for years, and you know what? It's finally happened. The Spurs, they're done. They're no longer a threat to the West in the postseason. I don't even know if they make it to the postseason at this point. The West
Are you
is so
serious?
tight.
They're in the playoffs.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? There's only a few games ahead, and the West is crazy tight right now. Not to mention the whole Kawhi debacle. I think the Spurs are done.
But see, that's my main argument. That's why I was so on the fence about this. Because we don't have Kawhi here right now.
We don't.
If
And they're
Kawhi,
still winning.
If Kawhi is here and
Bless
healthy,
Double bless you.
Nice. If Kawhi is here right now, they're at least a 3 seed, in my opinion.
He's not.
He is that much of a difference maker. But you're right. He's not here right now.
And it doesn't look like he's
But-
going to play it all this year.
Right, but this question is a very loaded question because this isn't just a question about this year.
Yeah.
This is a question that results in probably at least the next 5 years. So within that 5-year time frame, Kawhi coming back as early as next year, I think makes a big enough impact for the Spurs to be that dominant team that they've been for the last 20 years.
And you're forgetting the key thing to the Spurs. The Spurs is system basketball. It's not the players, it's the system. Look at what they're doing. You bench an Hall of Fame point guard, an aging Hall of Fame point guard, no less, but you bring in a rookie. You're playing more. You're doing what Brad Stevens is doing, just better. By playing.
He's been doing it for longer.
And he's been doing it for longer. The system's there. So if the system produces 50 win seasons on average, okay, and this was when Duncan was healthy, they were in the 60s range. As he got older, it dropped into the 50s range. But you see that as long as they have one piece, which they do, don't forget about LaMarcus Aldridge.
Balling out this year.
Yep,
and he's
stepped up this
motivated.
year.
Yep.
That system will continue. Because one thing that we're noticing in the NBA is the glamour teams aren't so glamorous anymore. You have to... When's the last time a huge name wanted to go to the Knicks? The Knicks are losers now, okay? They're like the Dallas...
Melo was the last one, I think.
The Knicks are losers now. They're the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. We talk about them, but for what reason? They're the bottom... These teams are looking... These players, are looking at where's going to be the best place for me to win.
Right, where can I get W's?
And the best place for you to win is with arguably, well, not arguably, the best coach coaching right now. And he may end up being one of the best coaches, because right now I think people say Phil Jackson is the best coach because of the rings and things like that.
Yep.
But Greg Popovich is coaching on so many different levels with so many different styles of talent.
Yep.
I think by the end of the career, it'll be kind of like a LeBron, Michael Jordan discussion between those two.
Right.
So I can't sell this that early.
Yeah, you have to put him on the list of,
All-time greats.
all-time greats. For
I
sure.
think the Spurs are just at a crossroads right now, and I think that's why you're even bringing up this question.
I think it's
because of the Kawhi debacle, because of him not, maybe not returning this season, maybe not wanting to with the injury. People are unsure of what's going on. With or without Kawhi, this is still a 50-win team.
I don't think they're a
have
50-win
pop.
team.
They signed LaMarcus Aldridge, who has been amazing there. Like we've said, they're a system-based basketball team.
They're a system-based
They have
basketball.
produced so many different Hall of Famers throughout the years. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, who's still playing, Manu
bless him.
Ginobili. They've produced so many
And
great
quality players.
Yeah,
throughout
Green,
the years that have thrived in that system. And as long as Pop is
Danny
a coach,
Green, his
they are
career
a
was
contender.
done.
Danny Green was in the D-League. Pop saw the talent, polished it off, and turned him into a juggernaut against LeBron for 2 years in a row. He set that was a record-setting team then. And then
I wanna bring up a point.
Then. But now we're talking about now. We're talking about the future.
I wanna bring
and
up a
I think
point
the
about
Kawhi
LeBron.
debacle is the start of the end.
I want to bring up a point that you just mentioned. A great segue. The Spurs are 24-18 against LeBron, which is the highest win percentage against LeBron by any other team in the NBA.
And I gotta respect it.
There's a reason for that. I just
There's a
wanna say
reason
there's
for
a
that.
reason.
But they
they're
got to get to the point to
the most.
play LeBron first, and I don't think they get there. And I don't think they will get there as long as LeBron's
But that
playing.
wasn't your question. Your question was, are they done with 50-win seasons?
They're done with 50-win seasons. They're no longer before people would be like, all right, I'm not worried about the Spurs in the regular season. Then postseason would come, and all of a sudden the Spurs are in the Western Conference Finals, and they're like, well, they are something I should worry about. I don't think they're that anymore. I think this is the beginning of the end of that.
I think you're mimicking what people have been saying for the past 10 years.
But it's finally happening.
Is
It
it?
has to finally happen, and
Is
this
it
is the
finally
year it
happening?
finally happens.
See, I
look,
disagree
It
with you.
finally happens.
Yeah, people have been
Mark
saying-
your calendars.
Yeah, no, I'm done saying that. I'm done. I'm done.
I'm gonna side with history. Move on to the next one.
All right. Last one, best one for buy and sell today. So, we're talking about the 76ers.
All right.
So, we're going to talk about, first off, Embiid. He was drafted in 2014. He's averaged 22 points, 9 boards, almost 3 assists in his career. He's obviously missed significant time. But just looking at Sam Hinkie's process, we're a few years into it. Do you buy, sell? How do you feel about Sam Hinkie's process?
Bye.
I begrudgingly buy his process.
I'm gonna buy the process.
And this is great. I buy the process too. Like,
Who
I'm
would've thought?
honestly shocked.
How can you not?
How can you not?
Yeah.
They're the perfect team. They know what they're doing. They're
Hold on.
setting up for
Wait,
LeBron to
I
lead.
wouldn't say they're the perfect. Look,
They're
this
the
is what I'm
perfect
saying.
team for 10 years from now.
What they did, was it successful? Yes. Do I like tanking? Do I like the mechanism that brought them the talent? No. The flagrant tanking, I don't like that. I do like the results of it. I can't. Joel Embiid working out. How am I gonna Ben Simmons? What do you want me to say? It worked out great. I just don't like the fact that it's making a culture of losing. Okay, you just had Mark Cuban talking about how tanking is the way for this team. That is losers.
They nipped that in the butt, though.
They find him, but he can still do. My thing is, how are we going to be okay with perpetuating our culture by saying, guys, losing is okay? Even hold on, let me finish. Even in instances where teams have essentially done poorly and gotten a good player, like the year that Tim Duncan was drafted, the general got hurt that season, and they were able to fall into the positioning to get Kawhi Leonard. To get Tim Duncan? But was it flagrant, just blatant tanking? No, the team was bad, and they were and the failsafe built into the NBA did that. To purposely lose is an abuse. It's like
You have to take a step forward you have to take a step backwards to take 2 forwards sometimes.
But does that make it right?
This
Is
is
that
what-
morally right?
Yes.
And I agree with Nathaniel that it's not morally right. And whether or not that was... We're talking about what the process is and do we buy that it's working? Yes, that was your question. And yes, I do think the process is working when healthy. When Markelle is healthy, that's going to be the real...
Okay.
They're going to put it all together, I think, when Markelle comes back.
That's my argument to this. Is, granted, tanking, probably bad.
We don't
But
know.
you can't deny that this team has done a wonderful job of developing the talent that they have. Because realistically, if you put maybe somebody like Joel Embiid on another team, let's say the Knicks,
Okay.
will he work out on the Knicks? Maybe not. Maybe those
Oh my
trainers
God.
don't develop him as
Embiid
well.
and Porzingis?
Well, sure. Yeah, you
That's
can.
like
you
AD
can,
and just that's like AD and Cousins
AD.
right
You
Yeah,
there.
it
can,
works
you
out
can
well.
make that comparison now because Joel Embiid is balling out. But realistically, you look at Joel Embiid, you look at Ben Simmons, you even look at Markelle Fultz right now. Those people all got hurt, all done for an extended period of time. The 76ers have done a phenomenal job of still developing those players' body, their minds, while they've been out. They've done a really good job of training these players despite a setback.
Well, I mean, you have to in that instance.
Well, sure, you have to.
But a lot of
does-
teams don't. They'll
lot of-
push it away
a lot
because
of
it's not
teams
worth the money,
right,
the time,
a lot
the
of teams
investment.
it doesn't work out for.
Yeah.
So the 76ers clearly have a really good staff behind Hinkie.
I mean, look at
Let
Greg
me-
Oden. Maybe if Greg Oden was in
Here, let me-
Philadelphia now,
let me ask you a question
right?
about
His
that.
career went down. I'm just saying. People thought like he's the next Greg Oden. He's another big man who went down. It's like, no. I mean, if you stick with it, they told people to believe, and look at what they're doing.
I guess that's the Phoenix Suns did something are in the process of doing something very similar.
Correct.
A year ago, while Eric Gordon was Bledsoe was having one of his best seasons, they sat him and purposely tanked. Nobody talked about it. It wasn't very much covered, but they purposely tanked to get more young talent.
Correct.
All right?
Yep.
Now, has it worked to the same has the talent in the draft been at the same level that when the 76ers did it? No. Right? But even in that I disagree. Because you had
Sure.
in just general I disagree. Because what we're really saying is we all agree that the principle behind losing on purpose in general, just the idea of it, is bad. It's not a good culture to have.
Correct.
We're saying that it worked really well for the 76ers. But if you look at other teams that have just tanked and have just put their chips behind these young rookies, right? Outside of some very few outliers, it doesn't really work out. And that's why I have to buy into this particular case because it worked. But in general, I don't think it's a good method.
What's worked more for them was staying consistent with the players and developing those
Right.
players. That's more, I think,
that's
the process.
a big thing. Is we don't
I
know
think
the
is-
behind the scenes scenario here of each individual team that drafts young talent. You know, is somebody like Andrew Wiggins, would he have worked out better elsewhere? Would he have been able to develop the defense that everybody thought he was going to be able to develop on a different team?
Being coached by the great coach Tyronn Lue.
Maybe like
You
if
said that like you believed it for a second.
He's been coaching, guys.
if
Never
Andrew
has.
Wiggins ended up in Memphis,
Oof.
what sort of defensive monster are we talking
Defensive
about?
Player of the Year.
No.
Perennial.
You know,
I don't know.
It's
I don't know if his body would make him better than because I think Kawhi has a better body.
Yeah, Kawhi's looking great this year.
Yeah, but that has no.
But that's my point. Is every team comes with a different culture.
True.
So Phoenix's culture is just bad. It's just poop.
It's too hot to play basketball.
It's too hot. It's too hot. Things melt.
Sometimes
play
planes can't
outside.
fly.
You get sunburned. It's bad.
All right. That was fun. Let's
for
see
buy-sell.
if you can live up to the hype of the amazing buy-sell that
Sounded
we
a
just
little
did.
spiteful. Let's see if you.
You specifically.
No pressure whatsoever. Okay, we're talking mid-season grades. We're a little past the mid-season. The All-Star break is now behind us. So we're going into clutch time. But let's review the first half of the season. We're going to go through a few teams, and you're going to give them a letter grade, ranging from A+ all the way down to failing. And we're going to see where we stand, okay? So we're going to start with the Boston Celtics in the East. I gave them a B+. That's where I put them.
I respectfully gave them a C.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
No, not the first letter of the team's name. The actual letter grade you want to give them. Were you confused by the
the
rules?
actual letter grade? C-.
Woo!
Yeah,
Okay.
you wanted it. You got it.
Okay.
I gave him a B-. I think they'll be better in the playoffs, but we're not talking playoffs.
I also went with a B+.
B+.
I think they've exceeded expectations without Gordon Hayward.
Okay.
Yeah, they started off the season hot. Remember they had that 17-game win streak.
Yeah,
We
Gordon
talked about
Hayward
it on
had
the last
2
episode.
points, 1 rebound. That was
The
starting
legend
pretty
of
hot.
Gordon Hayward has been put on pause, but I think they have exceeded expectations. Okay, last year I think they showed people what the hype is about, and so because I think maybe they're a little below that, everyone's like, No, they're fine. They've struggled with some injuries. Okay, Brad Stevens.
Followed
the
back.
next-
All you need to say, Brad
Stevens.
next
Mic drop.
coming.
Next question.
the next.
He's the next Pop. You heard it here first. He is the next
Oh.
Pop. This man knows how to coach.
I kind of agree.
He knows how to
think
get
he's
the
gonna be
rotations.
good. You know Eric
He knows how to
Spoelstra.
call the right
Yeah.
plays in the right moments.
Yeah, he's
The
bad.
All right.
Celtics, I think, will improve over midseason, but that's why I didn't give him an A B plus because they
No, gotta stay
they showed
humble
that
with the
they're
B plus.
All
humble.
right, so I'm gonna keep
potential
mine as
89.
I'm gonna keep mine as a C. All right,
Phenomenal.
and I'm approaching this as a Cavaliers fan. All right, so
Everybody else in the East gets a C to an F.
no, because we'll go through
He
this
set-
and you'll
he
see
set
that's
the
not the
bar.
thing.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the Cavs because the Cavaliers are next.
They are next, and you'll think my score is very fair.
I gave them a B minus. That is what I gave the Cavaliers.
A B minus.
A B minus.
I actually gave the Cleveland Cavaliers a C. I actually need to go back real quick, guys, and I need to apologize to you. I actually gave the Celtics a B. But I was so convinced. I was reading Cavs.
Wow.
Great penmanship.
I was
Great.
literally reading here.
Wow.
Oh,
I still, but like, I can
Lot of
convince
Cs.
myself
As
to
a
give
Cavs fan, by the way, this man says wearing a Boston shirt. With a straight
Yeah,
face.
conflicting.
It's not conflicting. All right, so here we
He
go. Here we
respects
go.
a quality
I
team.
respect a quality team. All right, so let me change that real quick. My gut feeling initially when I heard about this was to give them a C out of straight spite and disrespect, a C minus even, like I just did. But as I look back on my notes, which is why we take notes so that we don't get caught all up in our feelings, I have to go back and say I actually gave them a B. Not a B minus, not a B plus, but a B.
B is a solid grade.
Okay.
It's a fair grade.
I gave them
Fair
that B because they're getting great play out of their rookies, although it's diminished a bit lately. But in general, they've gotten really good play out of their rookies and their second-year players. Their record is good. It's a solid record. At the end of the day, sometimes you have to fall back on how good has this team been in general, right? And they have a solid
Fair.
record. I have to take points away for injuries. Not just the Gordon Hayward, but also with Marcus Smart. It seems like this team has bad luck with injuries at the worst times, right? When they're really rolling or when they have the opportunity to get really rolling.
game 1. 5 minutes.
No. So, okay,
All
going
right,
Guys, we're really going.
the hype was rolling.
No, the hype, like
And then
everything
There
up to
was.
that point was rolling. And even in those 5 minutes before that happened, that game was going very well for the Celtics. They
Great
were
game one
rolling.
review.
They were rolling in that. As a Celtics fan, they in the time that they played, they were rolling, and even leading into that, everything was rolling well as a team. They get hurt, right? They respawn, but still, that's not what you want to see there. The
same
second
with
time
Marcus
somebody
Smart.
gets hurt, Marcus Smart with a hand
Just
injury.
a freak injury.
A freak injury
that he
But
did to
luck,
himself.
Luck plays into it, like, especially when you get into the playoffs. A bad bounce, a dribble of the ball, hitting it at just the right angle, that matters. And so an injury at an inopportune time, leading into such a skid that they had going into the All-Star break, I can't overlook that in terms of how about how this team is doing overall. So that's a minus for me. And the last minus is I feel like they're missing that X factor. And I know you guys are gonna bring up.
Kyrie.
Yeah, what's his name?
Kyrie's an assassin.
No,
Kyrie
Kyrie
is
is an assassin. Okay,
Definitely an X factor.
he is an X, but they're missing an X factor this year to make me
They're missing their second X factor.
Gordon Hayward. Like a Y
They're
factor?
missing their X factor to me is Gordon Hayward and like I feel
I
like
see
they're
what- I see
missing
what
this
you're
heart.
saying.
They're missing something. They're missing
missing
that.
a
We
big
know what
three.
Kyrie
They-
is.
yeah,
Kyrie isn't an X. Like Kyrie,
An
we
X
know.
factor,
They
I
need a
get, Kyrie's the
dinosaur
star.
on
The
the
X factor doesn't always have to be the star.
Star.
And I
It
agree
just-
with you. So
you
I
know,
see what you're saying.
I'm
I see
saying
what
like
you're
they're
saying.
missing some. There's something missing there, and I'm not even.
Like a flame.
Like
and
a
I'm
big
far.
man. Like a tall guy who
They
plays
don't
the
have the
center
size.
position.
Like,
They need size.
All I'm saying is, even
And you're
when
right.
Gordon Hayward comes back, I'm still not going to be 100% sure because I want to see what that X factor. Think of
It's gonna be DeAndre. It's gonna be DeAndre.
I think it's going to be DeAndre.
think it's
Anthony
he's coming?
Davis. I think it could be Anthony
It's not gonna be
Davis.
either of them.
I think DeAndre Jordan to a lot of teams brings a lot of good stuff.
I mean, he brings a
championship
lot
gets
of
worse.
he brings a lot of salary cap issues.
I think he's worth it. I think he's worth.
I
all of
don't,
those
I don't think
issues.
Danny Ainge
How
is
much
that
would
type
you
of
pay
dude.
for
Danny
a
Ainge is not that type
championship?
of dude. He's not the type of dude who's going to pay
Danny
someone.
Ainge buys
He
it on the
finds
cheap. Go ahead.
value. He
Anyway,
finds value.
I think we've made it pretty clear that the Celtics have been pretty okay.
That's a B.
That's a B. It's all in the B.
Pretty
range.
okay is better than a B. A B is
No.
better than pretty okay.
Okay
Sorry.
is a C.
is
Pretty.
average.
Yeah.
So-
Sorry. B is better than pretty okay.
More
I think-
importantly,
Who's the next team?
Cavaliers.
The Cavaliers. You guys need to go on the Cavs.
You are what? B minus.
Yes.
On
I gave them a B
Cavs,
minus.
you were a C.
I'm a C, guys.
What are you?
C minus.
I am also a C minus.
Okay.
You don't trade 6 players and say that you.
Oh yeah, this is a great team. This
Wow,
is a
I thought I was
mid-season
gonna be on the
review.
low end.
This is
Wow,
a
me too.
mid-season
Wow, I'm
review.
surprised. I thought I was gonna be in the low
And
end.
they look terrible.
Everybody.
They just had a fire sale. Yeah, they were pretty good guys.
The
no.
only reason I gave them a B minus is because they did show that they flowed a little bit. Small. I know it was a couple games. It was just before the All-Star break. But that team has flowed, and they
this
needed to
close
make a
to a
change in
D.
culture.
To a D?
I was this. You traded.
They just had a fire sale.
Okay, clearly I need to educate some people.
And somehow J.R. Smith makes the cut. He's shooting
That's
like
surprising.
4%.
That's surprising. I'll give that to you.
All right, here we
Probably
go.
shooting single digits.
That's
hold
being
on.
generous.
Let's think of the people that they shipped away. Isaiah Thomas, who was not fitting in the culture of the Cavaliers and was not, and it didn't look like his health was going to be there for the stretch run.
Correct. 1.
Amon Shumpert, coming off a knee injury, you weren't going to play him.
Correct.
Channing Frye.
3.
Channing Frye.
Don't miss them.
They let not Derek. Yeah, they also trade Derrick Rose.
4.
They let Dwayne Wade go back to Cleveland.
5.
Miami.
Miami.
And then the last
home.
person they shipped out, if I remember correct, who's the last person? Who's not on that team anymore? I think it was that.
Jay Crowder.
And
Jay
Jay
Crowder.
Crowder, another person who was not.
Okay,
so you're
the forgotten
So
man.
6.
You're 6.
How many people are on the roster?
uh,
The answer is 12.
12. So they got rid
Half
of
of their roster.
They needed to get. Why are you mad that they
You
got
had
rid
to
of?
get rid of them because they were bad. They were a C minus.
They were a C.
You guys are talking about, like LeBron still runs the East. Yeah, LeBron has to make it to the playoffs before he can run the
LeBron
East.
is the
Okay,
one
I'm sorry,
reason
okay,
why
I'm sorry.
I gave them a B minus because LeBron is balling
LeBron
out
is
this
okay.
year.
You guys are disrespecting yourselves and your intellect. LeBron is enough to get you to the end, to get you to the playoffs in the East. So never disrespect that
Hey,
one point.
real quick,
LeBron is.
I'm not on his side with the Cavs not making the playoffs. I'm just saying the Cavs, as a team that are the favorites to make it to the finals,
as they should be now, not then. Now,
But-
not then.
but still, then they still were.
still
And I'm
were.
If you trade,
I'm giving them a C.
if you trade half their roster
Yeah.
That's
as
very-
as a team that's supposed to make it to the
You
finals, you can't get a good grade.
I'm not debating the fact that we
But
both
they
give them
made a
bad
culture
grades,
change.
but
They
they
needed
had
to.
Your grade wasn't worse
no, but
enough.
no, my
Your
grade,
grade
but
wasn't bad
a
enough.
C minus seems disrespectful.
Because
you're
it was
just
meant
like
to
you're
be.
just being
Because
like,
it
you're
was
like
meant
I
to
see
be.
that I see that smirk on your face, and you just did that like
You know why?
oh,
Because I gave him a straight 70.
oh my
He
god.
said it with a
It ain't,
grin.
it
Oh, he
ain't
said
no
it with a-
73. It ain't no
my
on the
God.
cusp. It's a 70.
Look,
Can't do no
They
extra
had to
credit.
make a culture
they
change.
had to
And
make
they
the culture,
did.
and they made the
And
right
I'll give them
change.
credit for
They've
that.
played
They made
4
the
games.
They
since-
did. I gave them credit. That's why they're a C minus.
That's why I
We
gave
can't
them a B
agree
minus.
so much. Those 4 games that they played, those 4 games that we got to see that great team now assembled, bumped it up from a 69 to a 70.
I think it's
They
tough to
beat
have
two
such a chemistry
quality.
in the first
They
4 games
beat
you
two.
play.
They beat 2 quality teams. They
on
lost
hype though.
on hype.
Pure overdrive.
Pure adrenaline. Like, okay,
Yeah.
guys, new year, new me. Let's
There's
go.
literally no
do it.
guarantee that
New
that
year, new
occurs.
me.
Larry
they-
Nance, I'm coming
They are
home.
New Year resolutioners in January at
Oh
the
my
gym.
god, hitting
Oh
the
my
gym
God.
every day.
They're like, let's go.
Even
my
doing
God.
some legs.
February gonna come eventually. You're gonna see like half of them there.
Yeah, I didn't think
'Cause
I'm with you
J.R.
on this one.
J.R.
I
Smith-
agree with you on this one because I think they deserve a bit higher.
J.R. Smith
They
in those
do
4
deserve-
games has shot like an unbelievable percentage, like 80%.
He's
come back
but
down.
then you
If
gotta.
they didn't make those trades, I would give them a C minus.
I would too, but they
Honestly.
made those trades. The pluses for me, they had 3 minuses to 1 plus. All right, for me, they brought in some
like a
inexperience. Okay, first off, they were at base coming in. They're an A plus because like their standard is winning the East. So you need to drop down to an A, dropping down from an A plus in my opinion. Okay, so the inexperience with everybody that they brought in the first time and bringing in now. I wasn't too in love with. The second thing was just not being becoming a cohesive unit. Even when they had players there in the past to now, they still have to work on that.
I just want to make sure we're still recording.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry to cut someone. It just felt like we were like I was just really feeling like we were like really close to like not being recording.
I'm literally watching the camera.
Well, you were texting, and I was trying.
No, Nate's on Instagram.
I was trying.
can tell.
Nate's doing his
I'm
job
getting
as
a
the
lot of
Yeah, my
distribution
phone's
lead.
blowing up.
I was trying
Yeah,
to
Nate's doing his
subtly
job.
get Nate's attention without cutting anybody
Well,
off.
we actually cut everyone off.
I had to make sure that this shit
I'd
was
rather
still
you
happening.
be sure than us have to do that all over
Exactly, because like we
thank
had
you.
like really good
you.
conversation there, and I didn't want to like.
No, that was
cut
very
anything
good.
out.
Look. Getting back
Why
into
do I
it.
have trust issues?
Getting back
Oh.
into it. Look, the general thing that we agree on is that the Cavs are in the C range. Okay,
Lower
they're
C
in the
range.
C range. They're
Who's
in
next?
the C range. Okay,
Who's next?
and we can go to who's next.
All right.
Hit
Guys,
me
the
with it.
Toronto Raptors is next. Team that has been on fire. I gave them an A.
I gave them a B.
Sorry, A minus. I gave them an A minus. I apologize. I only gave one team an A, and it was not this team.
Okay.
I gave them an A minus.
I gave
Thank
them
you.
a B plus.
Gave him an A. They're gonna win the East.
You're an idiot.
I don't think they're gonna win the East. I did give them an A minus because they have played.
A minus B plus. That's
Yeah.
B plus. That's close.
They're in this.
They've played very well this season.
Played phenomenally
there's-
this season.
There's
No,
a
but
lot of outliers.
You
You
can't
can't.
phenomenally because they're not performing like necessarily insanely above average. You know, they're
I say if you're the number one
They're first
team in
in
your
the East.
division, you're playing
They're
phenomenally.
the first in the East at the moment.
I give you the Hawks. And
They
I give
played phenomenally in the
give-
mid-season.
And I give you the Celtics. I give you any.
this is a mid-season
We're not talking
grade,
postseason review. We're talking mid-season
I agree. We're
review.
talking.
We're
mid-season.
talking
How are they
mid-season
playing
re-
to this point.
Let's-
which has been very well.
which has been
very well.
phenomenal.
They haven't been playing phenomenal. You know who's been playing phenomenal? There we go. A couple other teams that are coming down. Phenomenal. you need to rank that in next to who is actually playing phenomenally.
A is phenomenal.
A is phenomenal. So
then I gave them an A.
okay. Not
I gave
not
them
to
an A
throw,
minus.
not to bury the lead here, but just really quick. Do you think that the Golden State Warriors are playing phenomenally?
Yes.
Okay. So in that statement, the Toronto Raptors are playing as well as the Golden State Warriors.
He's obviously going to say yes because
Yes.
all of his stuff is
Okay,
based
great.
on where
I can't
they're
wait
seated.
for you to back that up without me laughing.
Well, they're coming up. But first, before we get to them, I want to bring up another team in the East, the Washington Wizards. Okay.
Woo!
I gave this team a B.
Be nice, Bryant.
I gave this team a B. So where
Look on this man's
Mario just
face.
looked at my notes.
so it was like, ooh,
Oh.
we went downhill.
I
not the
gave
only
them
one.
a B minus. They're trending really well, but I'm concerned with this whole John Wall thing. Okay,
What'd you give them?
I gave them a B minus.
Generous.
I gave them a B minus just because I'm concerned with this whole John Wall thing. They're playing phenomenal basketball right now.
Without
in
him.
Without him.
Without
That's
John
why I'm saying
Wall.
I'm concerned.
That's concerning.
That's what's concerning to me.
But I
D
think that
plus.
shows that the team is coached
A
well.
D plus.
D plus.
Do you even play 2K? Like, I don't even understand where you're getting this
Yeah,
stuff from.
I play 2K, but now we're talking about regular mid-season basketball.
Okay.
And when you're better without your all-star point guard, there are so many reasons for concern on this team. D plus.
D plus.
D plus.
Wow.
Wow.
I know. How
Well,
ridiculous.
is
How do you follow that up?
Even Mario was a little generous. Flat D. Okay.
Oh my
this
God.
team gets my D. Okay. It's just. Okay. John Wall has made no improvements to put the team on his back this year. He's just doing
He's an
the
all-star.
same stuff that he's been doing literally his
people
entire
got hurt.
career.
Playing phenomenally.
Playing
Phenomenally. Playing Golden State Warriors level.
He's playing.
Is that the standard you're
He's
saying?
played-
That's the standard he
He's played
set.
pretty well.
He himself is playing good enough to be on the Golden State Warriors. I wouldn't.
But
the Golden State Warriors
I could be
wouldn't
on
take
the
us.
Golden State Warriors
the
if they sign me.
The Wizards are in like
I'd have to drop their
basketball
grade
team
if that
limbo.
happens.
Okay?
Okay.
They're not doing anything better or worse than what they've been doing for the last 4 years. Okay?
Yep.
It's the same scenario with the Raptors.
That gives them a D though.
Yes.
Again, remember this is a
Again,
mid-season
but-
review, and how they've played. They're fourth in the East.
Yeah.
How they've
Right?
played so far.
Exactly how
It's
they
more
why
of
I
the
give them
same.
a B.
Exactly
It's
more
more of the
everything.
same.
Yeah, but
they
how
have
you-
not taken a step forward
Okay.
ever.
So how
Yeah, but that's
I'm
you're
not
making
saying
it
they're
more
going to take a
Knicks say
step
that.
forward.
You're
Okay,
saying the
so-
mid-season review. They're
so-
the fourth team.
how I graded all of the teams that I've picked not only has to do with how they've played this season, but how they've performed in past seasons and what their expectations are going into this
Exactly.
season.
You're that teacher who looks at the
Expectations.
reputation for the kid before, and then you.
No,
give
I'm
them
not
a
looking at
grade.
the reputation. I'm just looking at your expectation. And that's how I did my grades. Out of what were you expected to you? Out of what was expected of you, how close did you to hit that mark? If I expect you to, I don't know, get a 6 and you got a 6, that's an A. If I expect you to get a 10 and you got a 6, that's bad.
Did you expect the Wizards to be 4th in the East at this point?
I expected the Wizards to be better.
I expected them to be a top
Really?
4 team,
Yeah.
and then
And they
to just
are.
fizzle- and then to just
Yeah, they are.
not
Wait,
so
look
then-
good, and to just not look good doing it, and that's all I'm seeing.
John Wall, throughout his career, has averaged 19 points, 9 assists a game. That's good.
That's really good.
I'm not doubting that that's
well.
good.
That's like
Wow.
that's really
But
good.
when
That's amazing.
When is he
Top
going to
5 point
really
guard
step up and average 22 and 10? You know, that sounds like a small difference, but that difference needs to be made in order for this team to really hop over the edge. Every
Agreed.
person on that team needs to step up, and they're not. They're just doing more of the same, and to me, that isn't going to cut it. It's like being in the 9th grade, moving up to the 10th grade, and expecting that you're going to do the same amount of work to succeed in the next grade. It's just not. It's not.
I see
They're
your-
not
I see
making
your
any
point.
steps
Fair point.
forward. They're just
But I don't see.
But I
I
think
see
it's
what you're
still better
saying.
than a D, but I
I think
agree
it's
with
still
your
better
point.
than a D. I think a
I agree with
D.
your point,
A D is like if they. You're saying they're as good as you thought they were going to be, but you wanted them to be a step forward. I can see that, but I don't think that equates to a D. I think that equates at least to a C, if anything. Like
can't
there's-
tell this man how to grade.
I'd say C's average.
I think that's what we've been doing for this whole entire segment.
But see,
Who's next?
I was expecting them to be higher than what they are right now. So
Okay.
if they're not, then they get a lower grade.
All right, who's next?
Next team, the Golden team, the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, cute.
I gave them an A minus.
I also gave them an A minus.
Nice.
I gave them an A. They're the second best team in the league.
I also gave them an A. They're the Warriors. They're coasting. Like they're doing exactly what everyone knew they were gonna do, and they're doing it great. They're even teaching. They're even teaching their players how to coach.
They were playing.
But,
Hold
like,
on,
no,
the
that's a
team that they were
problem, though.
playing with against is a thing. All right, they're an A minus to me just because they're showing the signs of a lackadaisical team. Okay, if the standard is yourself, then I want you to play how you've been playing. Right, you're introducing a new dynamic of not really caring that much anymore about the regular season, which makes sense. Right,
Can't
because
blame
you're
them
going to
one
4
bit.
finals, right? You know, you're starting to do what LeBron's been able to do for his entire career, which is lay coast. But I don't like that. I don't think that it's a good thing. When's the last time you heard of that a team was in such a malaise that the coach didn't coach that day and had the team coach to get them engaged? That's another level of disengagement.
The
right?
entire time Ty Lue has been at the Cavs.
Yo, this man coaches, okay?
Literally, Ty Lue's
This-
tenure.
He's
This-
present.
Exactly.
He's
This
there.
man
Does he
coaches,
coach? I
all
mean,
right?
he's present. He
This man
stands there.
coaches.
He holds a clipboard.
All right, so
So he must do something.
Exact representation.
that's
of
why
Ty
they
Lue's
gave.
face.
That's
Go.
why they got the A minus to me. All right, because they're starting to get that Lake Coast mentality.
Looks
That's
lost.
the A minus.
Yeah, it's him.
I will say it's you can't lay coast in the West though, right? You can't.
They
coast
are.
I mean, when you're that
They
good,
are.
you
the
can't lay
Warriors.
coast in the West.
because you have to worry
Yeah.
about the Rockets
They're
at
not
this
worried.
point. They lead the league in technicals, and
Yep.
they lead the league in ejections. They are near the top in technicals. Okay, they need to rejuvenate something because that's not sustainable. Because you're going to
I
start,
agree.
if you get technicals, you're going to start getting suspensions. Steve Kerr is starting to give the players clipboards to try to rejuvenate them and get them to run plays. There's a problem with the culture there that I don't think everybody's seeing because it's the Warriors.
I
but
can
I still
respect
think
that.
that's why I gave them an A- because they need some work to do.
I agree where you're coming from with this whole A minus grade. It kind of makes me sway a little bit, give them an A minus, because it does kind of give off the vibe, you know, is this team too cocky at this point? Is this team
They're the
buying-
definition of cocky.
Are they buying into their
And
own
they've earned
hype?
it.
Are they the Patriots of the NBA?
No, they're not.
No. I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't even say the Patriots are like an overly cocky team. I think
They're
Patriots
not.
Right,
are
but
very
hyped by the fans.
Definitely
Hyped by
the fans.
No, but this team itself,
Which I think they are.
This team, Steph Curry throws his mouthpieces at refs and doesn't get suspended.
a lot of this team.
Facts.
A lot of this team is
Ref had it
is
coming.
kind of the golden child / a lot of these members are still pretty young. You know, you look at Draymond, you look at Clay, you look at Steph. These guys aren't the oldest players in the NBA. They're
I think the oldest one is Durant out of
Right.
their
That's
big
That's
four.
not a problem to have.
Yeah,
It's not a
but
bad problem.
but it is kind of a problem in terms of
Maturity.
Maturity.
Yeah.
And I could see that A minus being a thing.
Not enough to sway me.
I respect
Still
that.
an A.
Okay.
Who's next?
A team we had talked about earlier in the buy-sell, the Houston Rockets. This is the only team I gave a straight A to because they are a top two offense in the league, and they're fighting for that West. They're
A+.
fighting to win the West.
Gave them an A+.
A+, best team in the NBA.
Man, let's keep this train rolling. A+.
They
They're just like,
they exceeded all expectations.
nobody thought that they were going to
Obliterated
be
them.
as good with Chris Paul coming in. And they're like, you know what?
We're
F
worse
that.
without him. We
go-
lost like one game with
Right.
them.
They've
Come on.
only lost one game, one healthy.
That's
without them.
amazing.
That's amazing.
They're the Warriors without the cockiness. There's just the drive and passion to win. That's what I feel like they are this
Right.
season, and they have the tools to get it done.
If I'm LeBron, I'm looking at the Warriors and I'm looking at the Rockets, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to beat either of these teams in the
The
finals?
Rockets are strangely, I think, an underdog in the West, and that's weird to say.
It is.
But
It's
I
very
think
weird.
that's-
I
they're
don't see
an
them as
underdog.
necessarily
I
an underdog. I see them.
I think
on-
they're the favorites in.
I-
They're the favorites in my opinion.
I see them
They're the
on
favorites to win it all.
at the very least equal footing to the Warriors. Like that is going to be a
I mean, I agree with you.
phenomenal
I agree.
series
I mean, good basketball.
if James Harden shows up,
And if
Chris Paul's healthy.
I will say this though, if the Warriors, if we see, because there's a lot of competition this year in the West, there is every year, but
Right.
there's a lot outside of the Spurs. Everybody's mainly healthy right now,
Right.
And the Warriors have had a lot of luck when it comes to health. I think this year, especially if the Warriors have to face some healthy, motivated teams that don't want to see Steph Curry just go, all right, all day.
So well.
Yeah, does a great thing of yeah. Anyway, then this team is definitely the team to beat. You can't have the best record in the league. You can't be blowing teams out. Like when the Warriors were doing what the Rockets were doing, we gave them an A+. So we
Right.
have to be consistent.
Right. I think if the Warriors like wake up, and kind of really get serious, it has to be like now. They just
played really well. Curry
Right,
just dropped
but
40.
They have to start
44
doing.
and 9.
Yeah.
They have to start doing it now. And if they do, if this team really is like, okay, guys, we're looking at a lot of good teams this year. We really gotta put our nose to the grindstone. We really gotta really put in effort here.
Yeah.
If they do that, then the Warriors are still, in my opinion, really the team to beat. There's
If they get it together, of course. But right now, they're a little. They're at that A-, not at that A, and that's why the Rockets are here to stay.
I agree. Next, Oklahoma City Thunder. My lowest grade, I gave them a C-.
B-.
D.
You're just loving this.
wow, loving the D's. I went with C+.
Really?
That's comparable.
Yeah, I thought I kind of saw this team coming in as a lot of ball dominant players that weren't really gonna really be able to hash things out this year. The reason I gave them a C+ and not a C is because of Paul George. Paul George has come in. He had a little bit of a rough start, but he's really getting things going.
He's found
now.
his place. But what's his contract looking like after this?
Hey,
He's a free agent.
You're right.
He's a free agent, and that
You're
was the
right.
whole point of this year, was to bring these stars together, form your big three super team,
They did.
convince Paul George to stick around.
Publicly,
by-
that's what he said, is he's going to stay.
I think he'll stay if they get
Yeah,
success.
let's see what the
And right
postseason
now,
comes. See if
I'm just
he-
saying.
right now, it looks like they're gonna have no postseason success. This team was assembled to win it all, and they are nowhere near.
They were
that.
not assembled to win it all.
You
They
know
were
what?
assembled to compete.
They were
for the
supposed to
West.
compete in the West, and they are competing in the West. Let's be
Compete for
serious.
the West, to take the West to the finals.
To the finals, but not
you
win
didn't
it
build
all.
that team for fun. You built it to take you
Exactly.
And get you a trophy.
You didn't build this team
Okay,
just for
if
giggles.
that's what you
Right.
thought building this team, then you're naive.
I mean, I
as
didn't
a-
build this team.
I mean,
But
well, I'm
let's be
not you,
honest.
but like
Yes.
let's call it what it is. This team wasn't.
jersey sales, butts and seats.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. You're not this move. The moves in this offseason didn't make them better than the Golden State Warriors because, if anything, their big three is still better than your big three in OKC.
Oh, for
and
sure.
also, the
For
supporting cast that they have is better than yours. Let's also mention that you've had some injuries to your key wing defender with Robinson this season.
Yep.
I think D's a bit much, though, because if you look at what they were designed to do, they were designed to put butts in seats, sell jerseys, and to be a pretty good team. Not amazing, not bad, but
See-
okay. And that's the expectations that people had of them. And they're still doing well. They're an entertaining team.
Putting
They're
butts
doing
in
what they-
seats is no better than the whole tanking argument we had earlier, where it's like
No, because
tanking
when you
isn't
tank,
right.
you don't even put butts in seats. You're just bad.
No, I disagree because I think that the 76ers fans were about it. I don't want to dive into
They had
it.
something to
but
look forward to.
Yeah,
They
but
have-
that doesn't
exactly.
mean they were going to games.
I think that what I'm saying is I don't think that this team is living up to the expectations. This team was expected to be great, and they are not.
You're right. And it's because of how they play. They play a lot of iso ball. They play a lot of unsustainable ball.
It's
When they get to
exactly
the
what
playoffs,
was
they're going to
to
get
happen with
exposed.
these players.
Because they're
That's what they knew was going to happen.
They're ball hawks. They each want to take the ball. Melo wants to be in the light. Paul George wants to be in the light.
It's
Russ
beautiful
clearly wants
to watch,
be in the light.
but it won't
It
be
can
in
be
the
fun to
postseason.
watch, and that's for some exciting plays. But they're not
Basketball
playing
is
up
a
to how
ball.
they
I mean,
should.
we'll
Not
have
even
to see.
remotely.
This
they
is
could be the
personally
top team
what
in
I
the
was
West.
expecting from this team, and this is basically what they're giving me.
Alright.
Plus maybe a little bit more, because I love me some Paul George.
Doesn't change the fact that C-.
Let's move on to the
Definitely that
last team
level.
and see if they're living up to our expectations as well. Who is it?
Last team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay.
What'd you give them?
I gave this team a B-. Okay, because they're in a tough West.
heavy sell.
They are in a very tough West, but they have a lot of weapons. Jimmy Butler, I know he went down. He's going to have some surgery with an injury. Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague. They got some amazing weapons, and if they can put it together, I like them as a sleeper to at least go far in the playoffs and in the future. But they've played well.
What's
beginning of
far
season.
to you in the playoffs?
Second round.
Second round.
Leaving
In
second
the
round
West,
exit.
second round.
In the West,
Okay.
second round.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave them a C. All right, I gave them a C because they lost Jimmy Butler with the three people that that you listed off as being so great. Let's take a minute and think about those people. All right,
Let's.
you have Andrew Wiggins, who hasn't taken the steps that we wanted him to take. He's just been okay. He's not a great defender. He's not a great scorer. He's a step above. He's what everybody thought Jeff Green was gonna be. Right? Remember when Jeff Green was on OKC and we're like, oh, he's so great, he could be so versatile, and he turned into kind of like a mid-tier, like a lower mid-tier player. Mm-hmm. I believe Andrew Wiggins just reached this other person's potential. He should be better. He's not especially now that Jimmy B has gone down, he is not enough to raise that team. He hasn't showed
needs to
that
step up.
but he hasn't showed that he is that caliber of player.
This is his chance.
It is his chance,
This
but
is
we'll
his
see. I mean, Jimmy Butler wasn't there before, and he wasn't great then.
Yes, he
okay?
was.
That's true.
He was good, not great.
Yeah, in his first 3 years in the league, being good, not great.
Hey,
is
some
pretty-
players take longer to
pretty
develop.
solid.
Some players take longer to
He was
develop.
good. He was good. Not,
I'm with Nathaniel. I gave him a C. They're spooky. They're not terrifying.
And they have Jeff Teague. Who's afraid of Jeff Teague?
Nobody.
No one's
LeBron
afraid of
ain't.
Jeff Teague was better at Atlanta.
We
but
are
still.
we are on different wavelengths. You mother effers.
What did you give him, Brian?
I gave Minnesota an A-.
An A minus.
Wow.
The Vikings or the Timberwolves?
Are they paying off your student loans or something?
They are performing above expectations, in my opinion.
Okay.
Okay. There's only one name that I need to bring out here. And that's a name that everybody knows I'm going to bring out. That is Karl Anthony Towns.
Cat.
All right.
Dude, in Towns we trust. It's my fantasy basketball name.
Yeah, how they doing?
F you.
What did I do?
You took Towns from me.
Carl
I just said
Anthony
his
Towns
name.
away from Carl Anthony Towns.
So,
Oh, in the league.
Karl
yeah, you're
Anthony
right, I
Towns
did.
is just offensive game just exploding at all portions of the game.
Phenomenal.
More importantly, his defense has been unbelievable this year.
He trained with KG.
He has been so great from the perimeter in. He used to be a liability on the perimeter, and now he's a lockdown defender on the perimeter. That's progress. And everybody on that team is making some sort of progress. Everybody's saying Andrew Wiggins is taking a step back this year. That's because he went from, let's say, potentially first option, second option, around that area, to now at the very best a third option on the team. Because Jimmy Butler comes in, who is realistically maybe not the most explosive offensive player, but a very serviceable offensive player, a very good second
He has
option.
that kill, the intangibles that you need.
Right. Jimmy Butler is a person who can put you over the edge, who's averaging 40 minutes a game and is killing it. Okay, granted he's hurt. That in my opinion is going to put Andrew Wiggins back into a more offensively minded role, and we might see some.
But the thing is his defense.
Right, and that's why I give them an A- and not an A.
Oh, great point.
Coincidentally enough,
Coincidentally enough, I thought of that, and that's where the minus comes
No,
in.
Andrew Wiggins defensively is still struggling. But it's still there. Everything he needs is still... He still has length. He still has athleticism. He still has size.
And he's still young, but
They have a great blueprint,
And it's Jimmy Butler's first year there. Jimmy Butler is what is going to make Andrew Wiggins a good defender. Give Andrew Wiggins another offseason to work with Jimmy Butler, and I think things explode.
I 100% agree. I think that next midseason review, I'll probably give them a better grade. But as of this midseason review, I'm standing by that they're spooky.
But how can
not
you
threatening.
you gave them a what, like a C?
A C on the nose.
But what were the Timberwolves last year?
they were pretty okay.
I don't
They
remember
were
them
pretty
last year.
mediocre.
It's pretty okay.
I don't think they made the playoffs last year. This year, they're a 4 seed right now.
In the West.
In the West!
In a tough West.
In the tough West.
Exactly.
In the tough West.
That's
It's a
exceeding-
happy seat.
All right. We had a special fan submit a question to us, and we're going to have our boy Rezo read it to us, and we're going to quickly go through and give our answer.
Hey, Rezo, go ahead.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, so I've been trying to push off the social media tonight as you guys have been talking, and you guys have been doing a great job. We did get one comment, and that was from Angie Renzi, and that she says, "What was the biggest fight you had over a sport game, and what game was it?" So we'll start off with you, Cody.
All right. Man, there's a lot. I feel like we watch sports together a lot, and there's a decent amount of instances, but I'm going to go back to when we traveled to New York, me and you, Rezo, to visit this guy over here, Mario, and we went to see a Red Sox-Yankees game.
Oh,
Now, for those that don't
Jesus.
know, I'm a Red Sox fan and Mario is a Yankees fan, so we made a friendly wager
Friendly.
that whoever won, the loser would have to wear the other team's jersey. And, man, we were yelling that entire game. I was in a Red Sox uniform in New York.
That's
Man,
bold.
let me tell you, there was
That's
a
bold.
lot of
There was some
looks.
a lot of heckling.
There was a lot of heckling.
disassociated myself from him the entire
Friendship.
But there was
Friends.
it was friendly, but it
Bottle
was
thrown
not
on
back. Yeah, there was a lot
was
going
me.
on.
All
But I'm
right.
gonna have to go back to that moment. That was fun.
We got a
I did
picture.
that
We'll
again.
throw that up there.
So I'm going to
Yeah,
go
we'll throw up
even
that picture.
further back. I've been friends with this guy for going on 20 years now.
Yeah, long time.
And so we'll take it back to when we used to watch WWE at your house, and we would always, because it's a sport, and we would always, and it's WrestleMania, the main event, and we would always argue about who would win. You were, in hindsight, an idiot, always choosing Shawn Michaels, while I would always choose the correct answer, which is John Cena or anybody else that ever fights Shawn Michaels. And it would be heated, and then the same thing would happen. Sweet chin music,
Like 8 times.
8 times.
Always kick out of it.
Always kick out of it, and then he would just get slammed to the ground, and I would look at you and call you by your real name.
How about you, Mario?
It hurt.
So mine, I think Brian, we're probably thinking of one similar. I'm thinking the most recent Super Bowl. It was near and dear to my heart. Brian, you probably remember it more than I do. I've had a lot to drink that night.
Okay.
Oh,
So
God.
there's one instance I want to bring up in particular, and that is Mr. Zach Ertz making a very legal catch, making very legal football maneuvers, and crossing the end zone. There is some video footage.
Football's not 2 full steps! Does he have to catch it? Take 50 yards down fucking field! Just get the end zone with the ball! You ate shit and then caught the ball again!
He lost it.
No,
At the goal, he
it's
lost
like you
it.
stepped on a fucking banana peel!
End of story. Like, it's clear. That was a touchdown.
Brandon, go home!
221, the 2
I'm a
hour warning,
Patriots fan, but that
and
was
a
a
timeout.
touchdown.
Got all
Yeah,
that.
Our friend Cody over there.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Which I questioned his intelligence just a hair as to what a proper football move was for making it into the end zone.
Quite the night.
That was good. Actually, I remember a specific play from that. I want to paint the picture of when Brady has the ball, a few minutes left in the Super Bowl, and it's like, all right, Brady has the ball, he going to drive, you know that's what he does. The Eagles' defensive line have been trying to get to Brady all night. They couldn't do it. And what happens? I don't remember he wraps around, and he gets the strip sack, and we are jumping and screaming and pointing and yelling at the Pats fans.
God, it was intense.
Woo! I lost my
Sounds
voice.
borderline
He
mean.
couldn't talk.
It was mean.
Oh my god.
Thanks for the submission, Angela.
Angie.
Great question.
All right,
Angie
well,
Ramsey stuff.
thank you for joining us for this month's episode of Sub Day Sunday. Thank you for our fans who jumped in and gave us that great question. We appreciate you guys. Remember, this is FanCast Sports where the fans speak, so be heard.
So be heard.
It's your boy.